So our today's class is a very interesting on a very interesting topic, which called public interest litigation, which means জনস্বার্থের মামলা বা মুকদ্দমা in Bengali. But at the last point of my lecture of my today's lecture, uh, where I have said from a reference from the Indian High Court, where we can say that PIL is a locus standi based procedural flexibility. In line with that, we can easily narrate that litigation for the protection and preservation of public interest. So if you like to give a short definition of public interest litigation, you can say that the public interest litigation is a litigation for the protection and preservation of public interest. So the main purpose of public interest litigation is to protect and preserve the rights and interests of the public. So in a literal approach, public interest litigation is composed of two words. If you see the public interest litigation, you can find two important words in the main wording. One is public and another one is interest. But where the litigation introduced in a court of law, such as, so here we have to find out the main purpose of interest. So there are so many interests of publics, but the commons are pollution related interest, road safety related interest, constructional hazards related interest. So in extension, I would like to say a few more words regarding the definition and concept of PIL. The PIL is not clearly or universally defined in any statutory format or any specific codification of Southeast Asia. But most of the Western regulatory countries, they tried to specify and clarify a concept of PIL. But their concept is very much clear, because we are saying that PIL means public interest litigation, while the USA said PIL means public interest laws. So if you are going to specify a term, a principle to a law, so you can identify very clearly. But in Bangladesh, as we have said in writ petition system, a petition brought before the High Court division, we can easily say that in Bangladesh, PIL is a petition process which brought before the High Court division of the Supreme Court in the nature of writ under Article 102 of the Constitution. So if you like to understand three common concepts or common words, so you have to find out that what is the interest. Interest is regarding public, as I have said before, such as pollution-based interest, road safety-based interest. Second one, there is no specific definition of the public interest litigation. So we are not able to specify any definition of PIL as well. And the third one is, in Bangladesh, the procedural format of PIL is you have to brought a petition before the High Court division under Article 102, as well as we have to file a petition under writ under Article 102. So if we can observe the history, am I a bit fast, or I have to speak slowly?
It's okay, sir. You can carry on.
Okay. If we're going to observe the historical backdrop of the public interest litigation, we clearly prefer that it is legal practices that undertaken and acknowledged to help the poor and marginalized people, or to effect change in social and political policies in terms of public interest. So the most of the public interest in terms of their historical backdrop involve, acknowledge, undertaken the marginal people related. Okay, sorry for interruption. At initial level of the historical backdrop of public interest litigation, we can find out that it is used in Roman law as a Latin term, which calls pro bono publico. Am I clear enough? Okay, which means for the public good. So it means that in Roman term, public litigation or public interest litigation is public interest is called public good. So in Roman terms, it was public good. In our terms, it is public interest. But in practical approach, the term public interest litigation is originally introduced by the US, where PIL is used as a public interest law. So I would like to say the initial step is adopted by the Romans, but the practical approach is adopted by the American. So for the practical approach, I would like to say the PIL is innovated by the American. But along with the practical approach, at the end of the communist period, I would like to say communism, in the early 90s, the national legal system of Central and Eastern Europe widely developed the legal remedies because as a reference, I would like to pick and loud before you guys that the Council of Europe, especially, and the second one, the European Convention on Human Rights, and the European Court of Human Rights is to consider the utility of impact litigation, test cases, and other legal tactics. So the practical approach is innovated by the approach adopted by the Eastern and the Central European. So public interest, firstly adopted by the Roman as a public good. Practical approach is firstly taken by the American, and the procedural approach of the PIL for the very first adopted by the European. So they have fixed three formation in their legal tactics. As I have said earlier, one is impact litigation, second one is test cases, and the third one is proper legal tactics. So to quote or if I would like to quote or cite from the public interest litigation and human rights implementation, along with the Edwin Rakosh, there is a famous teacher called Edwin Rakosh. He wrote a book called The Constitution, Public Interest Law, the Constitutional and Constructing Public Interest Law and Transitional Collaboration. So where I can find that a strategic litigation and impact litigation is the ultimate supportive promoters of the public interest litigation. I would like to cite and refer it again from the book of Edwin Rakosh, where he clearly specifies that the strategic litigation and impact litigation is the ultimate supportive promoters of the public interest litigation. So later, here I have said the definition of PIL and the historical backdrop of the PIL. So in addition with that, I would like to mention that if the PIL is affected or in terms of any sort of litigation, so you can easily compel or take into references that, but in Southeast Asia, the trend has changed. Where I would like to mention that the Roman formation is different, American formation is different, European formation is different. So as well as for our virtue and what I would like to say, in our characteristics, the public interest litigation is different in Southeast Asia. Now you can ask me why and how. Because any public spirited person can file a case on behalf of a group of a person in Southeast Asia. While it is totally different in Eastern Europe, Western Europe, and America. So that is the, I would say it's a legal business, because in addition, I would like to add that it is not necessary that a person filing a case should have a direct interest in PIL, while in Europe, you have to show and identify the pure interest of an individual or a group, and otherwise you are not able to file a public interest cases. However, it will depend on every fact of cases whether it should be allowed or not. Therefore, in extension, I would like to mention you guys that the public interest litigation can be filed for few grounds. So I would like to specify my third point. First point is the definition of PIL. Second point is historical backdrop, where I have said earlier that the adoption policies or adoption steps are divided into four. First one is Roman, third one is European, and the fourth one, I have said that the Southeast Asian public interest litigation format is a bit different from the European and American processes. So later, the third factors of our today's class is what are the extension of public interest litigation, and who can be, or what are the filing process, and what was the, or what is the spatial grounds. The first one, if the violation of basic human rights of the poor and people in need, a person can file a suit in terms of PIL. Now, the third question is, who can file a suit, or who can file a PIL? Okay, the gradual answer is, if there is a violation of basic human rights of a poor or people in need regarding the rights, a person can file a PIL. The second one, we can say the content or conduct of the government policy and system. So if there is a collapse, if there is a misguide, if there is a misuse of the government policy and system, one can file a PIL. The third one, compel the local authority to perform a public duty. As we know that every public authority have or has their public duties. If they are not able to perform their public duties properly and they are not compelling it, on behalf of the negligence of the local authority, one or a community can file a PIL. And the fourth one is violation of other means of rights granted or directed by the statute of a specific nation. So it means that any sort of rights, if there is any sort of violation of any sort of rights directed by the statute, one or community can file a PIL. But for our country, especially for our country, the common approach of the public interest litigation are very much restrictive. So I would like to specify a very common reference from the BLAST. There is an NGO called BLAST. Have you heard this name? Hopefully you have heard this. So I would like to prefer and refer the BLAST, where they have specified that there are 85 common grounds for filing a PIL. So I would like to mention very few that the common approach of PIL are I would like to say that challenging arbitrary arrest, and the second one is consumer safety, and the third one is safety standards, fourth one is quantity of representative, fifth one direction for the establishment of the courts and tribunal, and another one is child imprisonment. And the most famous PIL from the BLAST I would like to mention here right now, the trial prisoners and delays in trials. So as well as they have submitted PIL on behalf of the independence of judiciary. The famous BLAST PIL is regarding independence of the judiciary. So as I have said, if there is a violation of right, one can file a PIL. If there is a conduct of the government policy system or content in the government or government policy or system, one can file PIL. If the local authority are not able to compel their performance or compelled to perform a public duty, one or community can file a PIL. On the other hand, I later I have referred our one of the famous legal aid of our country called BLAST, where they have approaches so many PIL before the High Court, where I've listed I think 1 to 8 or 1 to 9. But later, am I clear enough, or is it a big? Is it a bag? Is it bag or clear enough?
Clear enough, sir.
Okay, so as I have said, 3-part: who can file a PIL, the historical backdrop, and the definition. So I would like to point out the 4th point of my today's lecture is that what are the steps? What are the steps to be taken for filing a petition? Because I think for my students, it is very important to know the steps to be taken for filing a writ petition or PIL. So, as I have said, by the direction of Article 102, most of the lawyers are filing their writs and PIL in our High Court. So the frame is very common. So the first step that a person needs to know, that they have to approach a PIL lawyer first, or law firm, or an organization. So the first step is, if you like to file a PIL, you have to consult with a lawyer, law firm, or a legal organization. As we have said earlier, BLAST and other legal organizations. Second one, if you like to step ahead, you have to aggregate the list, address, names. Say, for example, me, I, Pranto, Dipto, and Protim, we 4 are aggrieved. So we have to collect all the lists, addresses, names of the 4 person to file a PIL. The third one, we have to collect all the necessary legal and formal documents, such as evidential documents. So if you are not eligible to collect all the legal and formal documents for filing a PIL, you are not eligible to continue with under the legal frame of our country. So the third one is, you have to collect all the necessary and legal documents. The fourth one is, so there is a details which is very much compulsory for the party, which relief is sought. So the fourth most important point is that the relief is sought. If you like, if you don't want to get any relief, then why you are going to submit, why you are going to file a PIL? So, but that last consequence is you have to get a relief or not. Obviously, yes. I would like to get a remedy or relief. That's why I'm going to file a PIL. So in 4th point, you have to very much clearly specify that you have to specifically step ahead that you are clearly identify the list of facts that giving rise to violations of rights or interests, as well as you are able to clearly mention the prayers or the relief being sought from the court. So the last point is, you have to list out all the facts that giving rise to violation of rights or interests. And the last one, addition with the last statement, that you have to clarify and mention that what is your prayers, what is your relief, what is your remedies, and why it is sought from the court, or why you are bringing it before the court. So I would like to repeat it, all the steps. First one, you have to collect all the data for the parties and defendants also. You have to give an approach before a lawyer or law firm or legal organization. You You have to collect all the legal necessary and formal documents. You have to aggregate and collect and list all the facts that giving rise to violation of rights or interests. And the very last and most important, you have to clarify and mention that what are the prayers or what are the reliefs or what are the remedies being sought from the court. So there are the most four important parts of our today's lecture. One is definition, second one is historical backdrop, and the third one, who can file a PIL, and the fourth one is what are the common steps of filing a writ petition. So as part from or aligning these four important points, I would like to conclude with a bit addition with my previous lecture but at last, I would like to mention that PIL in the context of welfare state, if you like to compare with our country and welfare state, I would like to mention very clearly that it is a conceptual foundation and the practical implication for strategies and legal management of the rights and interests. So I think from my perception and from my research knowledge, I would like to mention that PIL is a strategy. PIL is a legal management for the rights and interests. So if you are not able to collect or attain your legal rights and legal interests properly on the frame of statutory or on the statutory frame, you can file a PIL on the basis of a new formation of strategies and legal management. So another thing I would like to add with that. So there is a famous star called Ravista. Have you heard this thing? There is a famous professor and researcher regarding procedural law called Sir Ravista. So I would like to mention his one statement where he said, the PIL is based on properly social, substantive, and procedural remedial outcome based. So why do you like to file a PIL? So there is a procedural formation, there is a remedial formation, there is a social formation, there is a substantive formation. It means that the PIL is a collective formation of substantial law and procedural law along with the social formation. If I would like to refer the Sir Ravista, so I would like to clarify that the PIL is an aggregation form of procedural and substantial remedy along with the social structure. But if I would like to cite from the Harvard Law School manual, as I have said in my earlier classes, that there are few famous manual where it is published by the Harvard Law School, Oxford Law School, or Cambridge Law School. So for the PIL, there is a manual from the Harvard Law School where they have specified that the PIL is a legal action initiated in the legal system for the for the enforcement of interests in general. So there is a four important keywords from the Harvard Law School manual. One is action initiated. So the first important word is what is your further action, or what is your acknowledged action? And the second one, what is your legal system? And the third one, what is the enforcement process? And the third one is what is your interest? So if you like to, if you can easily identify your interest, if you can easily identify what is the enforcement process, if you can easily identify the legal actions, if you can easily understand the legal system, you can easily submit, file, enforce, step ahead about the PIL. So that's all for today's lecture.